Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic week for Sunday Night Skippy Racing action. We are coming to you live from virtual Suzuka in Japan, and we've got a great grid coming up here for this Skippy Formula 2 series here, brand new series that just started this season as kind of an impromptu thing. Looking really forward to seeing how everybody performs tonight. There's a 1700 iRating cap. That's basically the difference for this race. It's a nice little extra series that the admins were good enough to put on. Its own championship points and stats and standings and all that. I didn't get a chance to clip them to show you guys to see who's in the lead, but if everybody heads over to cavoknetwork.com/SNS, that's cavoknetwork.com/SNS, Sunday Night Skippy, you will see a page there where we just threw up some standings stats for both series, as well as some live timing and track map, live track map action for you if that's kind of your thing. So there you go, cavoknetwork.com/SNS. So we're in the qualifying here, and let's bring up the best times for you. Looks like we left some stuff on from last race. I do apologize. We are a little behind schedule here, kind of rushing the evening routines, and that's why you see that. But here we go. We've got currently Andrew Cole, who I believe his name is actually showing correctly now, so that's good. Finally, Andrew Cole. Only took us about a year to get that right. Very excited about that. And Carter Stickney's in second, Jake Ashe, Robert Longitano, Dan Pagowski, Kent Kirkendall, Oliver Hartley, Peter Lee, and Rich Butler, all having set times so far as Ian jumps into the third spot. And we are so far behind that I don't think we've got the entirety of the broadcast booth up yet. And as a matter of fact, I am muted to them, so they don't even know that I'm talking. So let's unmute everybody. Can everybody hear me? Ruh-roh. Let's try this. How about that?
Yep, I got you loud and clear.
All right. So joining me in the booth, I'm did not update the graphic, but we are happy to have Paul Beatty and Chris Herrera. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Chris and Paul?
Yeah, not bad. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we got you loud and clear.
Ah, cool, man, cool.
So we've also got Ian, although he's qualifying. I don't know that I want to bother him too much yet, but he is carrying one of our onboard cameras for the Skippy Formula 2 race this evening. So we'll be looking into that in just a little bit. So, fellas, I hate asking two people the same question, but I guess, Paul, you go first. Tell me a little bit about Suzuka and the potential challenges these drivers will face in the first race here.
Well, I've done a few races this week, and I've got a little bit of PTSD from it. It's a really, really fun track to drive. There's some really cool corners that reward a bit of bravery. The issue that I think people are going to have today is the draft is just so very, very strong on this track, more so than a lot of other tracks. So it's going to bunch people up. So people are going to have to be nice and patient with each other. The rundown, even from the start into turn one, the draft affects cars. So, once you're past 5 or 6 on the grid, you start getting 2s and 3 wides, and it is very, very tricky to navigate the first lap or so.
Yeah, it's also a very draft-heavy course, and it's hard to make a gap, but it's also very easy, relatively, to keep up with the people ahead of you as long as you're within the gap. There are a couple of very long straights here that they're 15, 20 seconds long, and you can get enough draft to catch up with the people ahead of you, as well as, if you time it right, you can have enough speed to go ahead and pass them going into the turn. But like Paul was saying, it's also a very PTSD-inducing track because it is very drafty, and there are going to be a lot of battles. There's been a lot of touching that I've seen this week, and some unfortunate contact and whatnot. So it should be some good racing, but I'm sure there's going to be some broken hearts as well.
And don't forget the green strip of death on the exit of 130R, a nasty little kink. And if you run a millimeter over that curb, you hit the green strip. If you don't lift, you're spinning.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to participate in the practice race. So for anybody who's watching, the league puts on 2 practice races, actually specifically Robert Longitano and Walter Collada, Wednesday and Friday. Jumped into the Friday session, and I, to your all's point, I was able to jump from 20 something, high 20s, up into I think it was P13 or a little higher on the first lap, just from avoiding death. So hopefully that won't be the case tonight in either of the races. But yeah, things, cold tires and cars that stick close to each other, you're kind of asking for disaster. We'll see how it goes, though. I'm looking forward to it. We are closing in on the end of the open qualifying session. As you can see, Andrew Cole's pole position is remaining intact, and it does look like most everybody has completed their laps except for Joe Zubovic.
So Chris, is this a 35-minute race?
I do believe this is a 35-minute race, yes. So they're attempting to do the 2 pit stops as well. They had to do a little bit of math to adjust for that, but a little bit shorter than the Skippy Formula 1 race, but same strategy and whatnot.
Yeah, the draft is very, very strong here. I've been in a couple of races with Chris there, and like usually, if you make a couple of wobbles, it's enough for the car in front to break free of the draft. But I could stuff it up all over the place, and then next minute I'm back up in Chris's gearbox. It's very, very forgiving.
Well, we see Joe heading up. I don't know what the turn names are here. I apologize, but I've never been able to really feel like I've nailed these S's. Left and right, kind of sweeping, trying to find the apex, and then you get a nice, where he's coming off now, you got to kind of almost sacrifice, it feels like, corner exit of the turn before to get a nice run off into this kind of straight part there. But I don't know, what's your guys' most difficult part of the track? I guess I would say in traffic, I'm guessing 130R, but just for yourselves personally, if you're hot lapping.
And surprisingly, 130R hasn't been too problematic for me in traffic, at least. Obviously, it's tricky and whatnot, and if you get it wrong, there's high consequences. But for me, the trickiest spots have been, well, it's hard to tell. I'm not super great at this particular track, and it's been a little bit disappointing this week. So I'm a little interested to see what's going to happen. But Paul, I think, has had better luck than I had this week, so I'm curious to see what he has to say about his tricky spots.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
Yeah. So how's it going?
It's going.
Hey, Ian.
Hey man, how are you doing, Paul?
Yeah, good man.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Just to answer your question there, I've had some success. I've had a far lot more failure actually, Chris. But your attack really starts in the S's. If you have to nail the S's right, because that starts your run through to 2 fast right-hand corners, the 2 Degner corners, and then there's the hairpin and the straight. So if you don't manage to get a good exit off the S's, then you're not going to gain on people and you're not going to lose people. So what you're saying there, Chris, is quite right. It's very tricky, especially on cold tires, to nail every apex on the S's. And if you do perhaps not get one right, there is a temptation for cars behind to start sticking the nose in, which
Oh yeah.
I know.
Yeah, exactly like Paul was saying. The S's can be very tricky early on because of the cold tires, and if you have an enterprising driver behind you who's trying to make up some spots, they could really hamper your line, and then you could potentially lose the group ahead of you. So it's sort of a choose when you want to battle type of spot. But in terms of the race that we're looking at right now, it looks like we got Andrew Cole in P1, Ken Kirkendall in P2, and then Jake O'Shea in P3. And I think of those three, only Jake was in last week's F2 race, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, we have a significantly larger grid, which I'm excited to see. I do notice that Keith Lee and Antonio Bianchi are in the session, but did not set qualifying times. I'm not sure if they were just in and had to leave, or if they will be joining the grid. But currently, 13 drivers having set a time, potential for 15 total to grid up. And yeah, it's going to be great. I'm enjoying the growth of this already. I think that once people realize that you don't necessarily have to be a member of the league to participate, but 1700 is the I rating cap, like we mentioned earlier, and it just kind of just another forum for the Sunday Night Skippy drivers to have some fun competition.
Okay, guys, Ian here. Just to go over a couple of things real quick. I think we might have a couple of new people to this particular race.
We're gonna mute him. That sounded like the driver's briefing there. We will go through here. Yeah, go ahead.
And when the racing's good, it can be very, very good here, very rewarding. But the reason I'm in the commentary box is it does seem to bring out bad decisions. Not only I'm not saying that's just other drivers, that's me as well. And I prefer to make friends, not enemies, in SNS racing.
Yeah, it's it can be tough. You know, there's a lot of benefit to racing in leagues in that you know, there's accountability and you get to know folks, but at the same time you are around the same same drivers every week, and yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but hopefully all in all it's goodness for everybody. But yeah, that's this is just another opportunity here, like we were talking about. For those of you who are new to the Skippy Formula 2, I don't know why I keep you know, kind of it's tough to say Skippy Formula 2. I haven't quite got that down yet, but I have like a little brain fart there every time I try to say it. But yeah, the Skippy Formula 2, another opportunity for a lot of the guys who potentially aren't you know, up in the front of the pack, although no reason they can't be. But oh, look, I grid there too. Sorry, squirrel. I guess I'm starting P14. It didn't even let me join. I had the I rating cap on. I guess it would have let me go. But anyway, the you know, kind of give them an opportunity to race each other without the super fast folks. They're getting in the way. So
Here we go. Looks like everybody got off to a pretty good start. Oh no, we got some contact.
Contact there. It's Ken Kirkendall, Robert Longitano's off, Jake Ashe.
Yeah, it is a really tricky start. It's not necessarily drivers being over racy or competitive. It's just the nature of the track that you're side by side into turn 1 and 2 without having to do anything. And if you lift, then the car behind you is going to be alongside you. It's very, very difficult to get right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was T1 or T2 on the first lap. So cold tires, obviously, and nerves playing a factor. And now our own Ian is in second place behind Andrew Cole in first. And I don't see the gap, but it looks like Ian might be within the draft zone. If not, he's awful close to that, which means Andrew's dreams of driving away with this may just be a dream.
I was in another league race this morning with some really high I rating drivers, and they all did exactly the same. There was so many cars that didn't make the first lap, so it's not really these drivers' ability. It's just the track, I think.
And let's see, back here in looks like Carter Stickney off at 130R.
That's a tough one.
Locked his brakes well.
Are Pim and Peter on the same team there? They got very similar paint schemes, the 24 and the 33.
Oh yeah, they do have similar paint schemes.
Okay, we'll start to see those intervals decrease now.
All right, we might be seeing a battle with... Oh, never mind, sorry. I guess Jake was getting past a back marker. So it looks like we have a train of 5 in the chase group is what it's looking like, starting by Ian Worrell. Behind him, Daniel Pagowski in P3, Peter Lee in P4, Tim Luth P5, and then Oliver Hartley in P6. And actually, it looks like Barry Stockdale is still part of that group as well, down there in P7. So pretty bunched up in that lead chase group. And then Joe Zubovich, a couple seconds behind Barry Stockdale. Looks like he's doing everything he can to try to get back up with that group. I think he's got a little bit going in his favor, because if they start battling, then obviously they're going to slow down and he'll have a chance to catch up. A little bit further behind Joe Zubovich, we have Robert Longatano. And just a little bit further behind him is Jake Ashe, followed by Keith Lee and Ken Kirkendall.
Yeah, Oliver kind of in a... Well, actually, it's an Oliver sandwich, I guess, because he's in the middle there, but Barry Stockdale and Pim Luth surrounding him. This is going to be a great battle to see shake out, especially as the tires get warmer and drivers get a little more confident and the car sticking through the turns and able to really kind of start throwing the car around a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And
Go on, Chris.
it's only lap 2, so to Chris's point, I think the tires are still warming up, so we're not going to see a whole lot of heroics just yet. But we're still seeing some good drafting coming up on those long straights, and right now it looks like Oliver Hartley may get a good run on Pim Luth coming into the start of lap 3.
Yeah, well, once the tyres come good, especially the first Degner, it's surprising how you could just barely touch the brake to get the car around the corner. It doesn't look like it, but you can really attack it quickly.
Looks like Oliver successfully makes the pass on Pim Luth. There was a little bit of contact before then, but luckily they were able to save it. And Oliver with a successful pass into, looks like P5, I believe?
Yeah, that'll bring him up 6 spots total into P5 now. Actually, I can bring up the battle box now that you say that, so everybody can see what we're seeing. It's like Dan Pagowski's doing some laps there in P3, holding on to a podium position, although Peter Lee is on the move.
Oh yeah, coming out of this hairpin, Peter Lee looks like he's going to be just in the right position behind Daniel Pagowski to try to make a run coming out of 130R if he times this right. And then potentially, if they work together, they can try leapfrogging as a temporary team to potentially catch up with Mr. Ian Worrell as well.
I don't know about you, Chris, but I found it very tricky to do leapfrogging. The straights are just not quite long enough to, really get the full advantage of the draft.
Yeah, it's definitely not super easy, and it requires the perfect line on the chase car, and then obviously cooperation from the front car. But in my experience, in the last couple of races earlier today, I was working with a guy, I forgot who it was, but we were able to make up a little bit of time, but unfortunately there wasn't enough time left in the race. But now, looks like coming into the start of lap 4, Peter Lee has a good run on Daniel Pagowski, and he may be able to get some overlap before T1. Okay, here we go. Get that draft, scoot over, hope the momentum carries you forward. You have to brake a little bit early because your line's compromised. No. Pagowski backs down a little bit, says I want to live today. And they both take it safely into T2. Peter Lee, excellent pass, well done.
Well, him not happy with not happy, that's the wrong way to put it, but not satisfied with P6 after that earlier pass by Oliver, and you can see he is searching for a way around the number 3 Google machine through the S's.
Oh yeah, I can identify the frustrated driving when you just want to get by someone.
Even though it looks the top 3 are spread out a bit, that it's still holding steady, and really if those gaps get to 1.1, they'll be bunched back up again in no time. And what Ian's he's holding his own there, and Lee in 3rd.
Oh, yep, saw that coming.
Oh man, looks like Oliver Hartley.
I'm sure not the way he wanted to make the pass.
Well, now we have Barry Stockdale putting a move on Pim Luth coming into 130R. If Barry plays this right, he might get a good run. No, but it looks like he took a little bit too shallow of a turn. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up by the time we get in the turn at the end of this straight.
Yeah, the hairpin's not the best of I mean, usually hairpins are great for overtaking, but on this track, because if you're side by side there, you're going to be side by side at the spoon, and that's going to compromise your speed on the main straight there.
And Chris, sorry to keep asking, but can you tell me, has Ian been maintaining pace with Andrew Cole? Because from the looks of it, he looks a pretty similar distance behind.
Yeah, let's take a look at the lap times here.
Looks like he lost about half a second recently, but he's been hovering about 2.2 for quite a while, so it could go either way still, that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. My guess is that for both Ian and Andrew, because they're on their own, they're just sort of hot lapping. They're trying to focus primarily on just driving as fast as they can and pretending that they have the track to themselves, while at the same time understanding that there are folks behind them, and if those folks behind them can get their act together and potentially stop battling and maybe just get 1 or 2 perfect laps, they're going to be right there in the draft.
Well, when you're on your own, it's a really fun track to drive. It's great. So hopefully there's a lot of fun out there.
Well, you can see our first taker to pit road, and I got to imagine some of that was damage related, but the 3 car of Oliver Hartley just coming off pit road now. Spent a total of 40 seconds down pit lane. So that's...
So it sounds like he got some fuel.
Got a little bit of fuel, I would imagine.
Is the pit window open at the moment for fuel?
It's a good question. I would imagine...
How much fuel have they got in their tank in this race?
All very good questions.
Oh, sorry.
Trying to look through... I know I've got the answer here somewhere. %. 32%. So whatever that, I don't know the math there.
Oh, it looks like Daniel Pagowski just got in the draft of Peter Lee. They've been having a good battle. I'm not sure if it'll be enough to make a challenge by the time they get to T1, though, as they start on lap 6, it looks like. Oh, yeah, definitely not enough to challenge, but maybe enough to get close enough to make the next lap much more interesting.
And Robert Longitano is going to be the second taker along with Joe Zubovich down pit road.
Was Joe Zubovich our Skippy Formula 2 winner from last week?
Jeff Fithian, who just checked in, unable to make the race tonight, enjoying a nice Chianti, making dinner, and he was our winner from last week. Joe.
Oh, that's right. I got confused with the letter J.
That's right.
Yeah, going through the track, it looks like the closest battle so far is still Daniel Pogowski behind Peter Lee. And they're battling for that 3 spot, it looks like.
And Ian has just got the gap down to under 2 seconds. So, 1.6, 1.5, 1.4 could be game
All right.
on first soon.
So it looks like Andrew may have made a little bit of a mistake going into that hairpin. And Ian has got an incredible acceleration down the straight line.
So another, actually, same person. Jeff there asked what the track temperature was today. We've got the weather information up there for you right now. 76 degrees Fahrenheit for the track temperature for the race this evening. See, Pogowski just inching closer as they go over the bridge.
I know Pogowski overcooks it just a little bit going into the... I guess that's a chicane, yeah?
Yeah.
And then he's going to follow Lee into the pits. Looks like everybody, Ian, Andrew, all in the pits.
All right, well. Here we go with some strategy.
Yeah, I think if I were Ian, I would potentially try to do an undercut right here. All right, it looks like Ian and Andrew Cole both seem to have taken on similar amounts of fuel, so maybe Ian was counting on his superior pace over the last couple of laps. And now remember, even though their tires are starting to warm up, the weight distribution is all off because they've just filled up on gas, so they're going to have maybe 1, even 2 laps to get reacquainted with the different physics of the car, and hopefully not make any egregious mistakes in the interim.
Yeah.
And the track temperature is 24 degrees centigrade for people in the rest of the world.
Anywhere else in the world, yeah. So I was going to say on the practice race, I was doing really, really well, but I talk all the time about how pit road enters these, or I guess presents these opportunities or challenges depending on how you look at it. For me, they were challenges because I first forgot to uncheck my tires, so I got a little tire change, which not only adds time, but now you got cold tires again, which we talk about all the time as not being fantastic. The other thing, they don't really wear like racing flats or anything like that. So then the second time I came in, what else happened there? Oh, I did not take enough fuel, so I pulled our team running on empty.
Hey.
Classic move. And did not fuel up enough.
Application received. And I'm not sure if you're watching Ian right now, but coming into 130R, he may get a good run on Andrew Cole and fight for that P1 spot. So he's close enough where he may bridge that gap by the time they get to the end of the straight, and they both have pretty warm tires, so they may be feeling a little brave and try to do some sort of challenge. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the danger is if they're both a bit stubborn here, Pegowski's going to be right up with them before long.
Okay, healthy amount of respect from those two. They were able to keep it on the track.
That was a
So,
nice
Ian,
drive there.
Ian letting it be known that, hey, I'm here and I'm battling.
And Pegowski's in their draft now, so it's going to be a pack of 3, or he's just slipped out again, but he might get back in.
Oh, it looks like Ian has taken the lead to start out lap number 8.
Yeah, I think Cole wisely didn't fight that one. He's aware of Pegowski coming up behind them.
Pegowski in the Maple Leaf. And if I'm Daniel Pegowski right now, I'm thinking and hoping that Ian and Andrew are going to start battling so that I can do everything I can to try to catch up.
I'd be licking my lips in anticipation.
Oh!
Excellent save from Ian. And Paul, have you found, at least this is what I found this week, is that this track in particular, there are multiple lines that work for even very similar speed type of people. So it sometimes can take 1 or 2 laps to really get an idea of what the guys around you are doing, so that you're not getting into their nose cones or you know, their tailpipes and whatnot.
Oh, for sure. I think turn 1 and 2 are the classic of that. Some people send it in faster, but then have to brake a bit more, and some people go in a bit slower but can carry that speed, and it is very difficult to judge where a car is going to be so you don't hit them sometimes.
Yeah. And Chris, I'm not sure if you're looking at Andrew Cole, but he's about to make a move on Ian. And here he goes. And Ian slows down wisely. I think he may have been trying to do an undercut, but at the end of the day, they both stayed alive, so that was smart. And there's plenty of race left. Maybe they're just doing some sparring back and forth to work up the nerves, see how the other guy's reacting, see how their car is reacting to that turn. And then now, Ian could potentially get a run going into T1, starting on this next lap. Here comes Ian. Going to take the left side, which is actually not the ideal line if you're going to be attacking right here, because you need to travel more distance. And then there are 2 pretty sharp right-hand turns right here, which would give Andrew the ability to slowly pull ahead, just like he did right there. Oh, but looks like Ian's got a little bit more overlap into the S's. Oh, gosh, a little bit. A little squirrely, but he comes out ahead. And just like that, it looks like Daniel Pegowski is in the draft of the leaders.
Yeah, it's an interesting circuit because there are, I mean, that was a bit of an example there. Turn 1 and 2 and also 130R. Sometimes it's easier to defend on the outside because the next corner coming up, you want to be on the inside for that.
Just want to look back here really quick. We've been focused on the leaders so much. They've been put on such a great show, but Oliver Hartley and Jake Ashe in the battle for 7th.
And it looks like another good battle back here, Jake Ashe, behind Oliver Hartley coming out of the hairpin, and it looks like they're getting on the long straight right before the 130R. So if Jake plays this correctly, then he may be able to get a good run coming out of 130R, and hopefully, from his perspective at least, get a nice pass on Oliver Hartley.
Indeed.
If I were in Jake's ear right now, I would tell him to take 130R quite a bit wider. Then he can get a lot more speed coming out of it. But he's still got healthy speed coming up on Oliver. Let's see what happens here. Oh, never mind. They're communicating with each other. Looks like Oliver is about to pit, so Jake backs down a little bit. Yep, and there goes Oliver into the pits.
And Pogowski's pitted as well.
Zubovic stays out for another lap, as does Kent Kirkendall. And the battle for P1 continues to rage. Looks like Ian Worrell still leading us, followed very quickly by Andrew Cole. Or is that Cole W. Cole?
Oh, I believe we have fixed it. So he was joking in the Winter Challenge practice that he was thinking about actually just legally changing his name to avoid the confusion, but I think we were able to work it out for him. Or finally, it only took a complete reset, reimage of my computer.
Yeah, if there's a governmental form for the reason for changing your name, I think SNS is all you got to put in there.
It is one of the options, I do believe.
Oh, Ian taking the hairpin just a little bit wide. Andrew may have been able to capitalize on that, but decides not to, it looks like. Although I'm guessing we're going to get another good battle towards the end of this long straight after 130R. Ian took it a little wide. I was a little afraid he was going to lose his rear right tire, but showed enough skill to hang on there and still maintain his speed.
All those green strips just outside the curb, the red and white curb there, they're almost instant death if you have any throttle on at all.
What is the name of that turn right at the end of the bridge when you're going over the bridge? The really, really high-speed turn. Whichever one that one is, I think we were talking... Oh, it looks like Ian's going to take a pit, and Andrew Cole staying out for another lap. Interesting. So we may get one of our exciting pit exit camera strategies going on here soon. So now Cole in first place all by himself. He's, I'm guessing, going to be pitting at the end of this lap. If Ian's pitting right now is any indication of the amount of fuel that they have going on here.
Sorry, Chris, are you talking about the two sort of left-handers?
Yeah, so coming out of 130R, then you get the really, really long straight, and then the high-speed left-hand turn at the end of that.
Well, we've
confused now. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I don't think I adjusted the track map, so we may have to do this real time while we watch Kent Kirkendall and Joe Zubovic locked in a battle here for fourth place. This guy's doing some really nice clears.
Do you mean before the chicane or after the chicane, Chris?
Before the chicane, the really, really high-speed left-hand turn where you just do a light lift.
That's 130R.
I thought that was at 130R.
Oh, okay. I thought where Andrew Cole is right now is 130R.
Where is Andrew Cole?
Oh, Cole, that's the Spoon.
Oh, okay, so Spoon, I see, is the one with the dangerous green paint. So 130R is the really, really high-speed left-hand turn. Got it.
That's right, yeah.
Sorry, guys, and thank you for clarifying. All All right, so let's see here. If Andrew goes into the pits here, then I'm guessing we might see a fun little battle when Ian comes around at the end of this lap. All right, Andrew, what are you going to do here? And he's going out for another lap. Maybe he's trying to collect those bonus points, which I think are a thing for Formula 2.
I do believe we have the same point structure, so, or at least I don't know that it's not the same point structure. I don't think there was any.
I would assume it would be.
Any talk of it being different, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so at least one more lap before our race leader goes in for, I'm guessing, what will be his final pit stop. And in the meantime, oh, did we just have a little bit of...
Looks like Joe cooked it a little bit into the chicane and is going to lose 4th place there to Kent Kirkendall, who just kind of swoops around. Although, 1.38, I'm sure he can try to get back up there before too long. So we're looking here at Ian Worrell's got 2 stops. He is nearly there to Joe, who still has to do 1 more.
And you know what's interesting is now Ian is behind Joe Zubovich, and Joe being a back marker right now. Okay, so it looks like Joe's going to back off. I was going to say it's possible that Joe would give Ian a nice little draft to give him even more of a benefit as he tries to catch up with Andrew Cole coming into this next lap. But at this point, Ian's in clear air, nice clean air, so he gets to rely purely on his skill and see what happens.
Keep an eye on it, but 42.95 seconds was Ian's pit lane time on his last go-around, which is about a second faster than what Andrew did the first time around. Although Andrew's math, on how much fuel he needs to take is going to be a little bit different. So we'll just keep that in mind. 42.95 seconds give us an idea as Andrew Cole slowly approaches what we have determined successfully is 130R. And then and we'll see when if he decides to. I got to imagine he's running a little bit low, but shoot, I don't know at this point.
I'm nice and close to his engine. I'm listening for sputtering.
Yeah, Skippy engines will start sputtering before other cars. There you go. He's going to duck.
Yeah, there he goes into the pits. Okay. I'm going to follow Ian. And he's actually coming into 130R right now. This could be close.
And it does look like everybody else is going to be popping in.
Ian cooks it a little bit going into the chicane. Saves it nicely. And let's see. Is Andrew Cole still in the pits? Is he coming out yet?
He's still in.
No, still there fueling. I think Ian's got this.
Oops.
Oh, and he's off.
Oh, he's off, but Ian may have the momentum to break the gap. And maybe not.
Oh, it's close.
We may have a battle. I think he may be in the gap, in the draft gap. Now it's a battle of the S's.
So Andrew's time on pit lane was nearly a second and a half shorter than Ian's last pit stop, so. Check out everybody's last pit lane time there. That's from pit entry to pit exit, if you're interested. Peter Lee has a really quick stop. Same with Kent Kirkendall.
Oh, Ian loses some time in the hairpin. So our top 4 are pretty close to each other, but I'm not sure if any of them are in the gaps of one another. But they're all definitely visible in the front or in their rearview mirrors.
it's a fairly civilized pit exit on this track. You're not sort of popping out unsighted on an apex. The other drivers have got plenty of visibility of where cars are coming out.
Yeah, it's also a pretty convenient pit exit to your point, also because you're coming out on the right-hand side, and the drivers on the track proper are going to be lining up on the left-hand side to get ready for that first turn.
Well, so the first couple sectors are going to be a little messed up because of the pit stop there, but you can see Andrew starting to walk in Ian as we approach 33 minutes. So I do believe this will be our white flag.
In which case, this is Andrew Cole's final lap to try to gain some time on Ian and potentially pass him. It looks like he's in the draft, but going up these S's, if you make one small mistake, it's deceptive how much time you can lose there. Because it just multiplies turn after turn after turn.
Yeah, that's right. If you go in wrong, you come out even worse.
I'm sitting here following the race in VR, and I'm subconsciously turning my steering wheel with the racers.
It's full immersion right there. That's the next step for I think Formula One, NASCAR, IndyCar, some virtual reality
Oh, absolutely.
cameras for us. And we'll pop off just a second here because we do have some other good battles going on that I want to focus on. Peter Lee and Robert Longitano. They've got about a second, so Peter is in Robert's draft there for at least the time being, and then right behind them, Jake Ashe trying to hunt down Barry Stockdale.
Jake making some moves. Looks like he's gained some time in the past couple turns. I think he's very much well aware that it is the final lap, and he's got to make some bold attempts. Going into the hairpin, I think he's going to be in the draft of Barry Stockdale, so we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, Andrew Cole going to be making a run on Ian going into 130R.
It's for all the marbles.
But don't forget, right after 130R, that little bit of straight might be enough for the recently passed car to then build up some speed and try to make a battle going into the chicane. Ian slows down a little bit, but here we go. He got a little bit more speed. He might be able to get some overlap going into the chicane, and he does. He's got to try to outbrake Andrew Cole, and he brakes a little bit too hard. Cole stays in front, makes the pass, and it looks like our skipping Formula 2 winner is going to be Andrew Cole. Congrats, Mr. Cole. Let's see what's going on in the back. Oh, Robert Longitano loses it, allowing Peter Lee to get past him right in the chicane. Oh,
now he's going to be...
Longitano is going to lose 2 more spots to Jake Ashe and Barry Stockdale. Oh, man. And I bet Jake is thinking if I had one more lap.
As Robert's wheel crosses in just behind him in 8th place. We may have to adjust the standings. Oliver Hartley technically in 8th. Ken Kirkendall in 9th.
Now, if someone's wheel comes off and it rolls past your car, does that mean that they've beaten you?
It's a very good question.
I think that means they're too fast for their car.
The last chicane really is a pressure point because at that point in the race, you might have been side by side on 130R and you're coming to the chicane and everyone's trying to outbrake each other. It's very, very tricky. A lot of accidents have been happening there this week.
And Chris, it sounds like they're going to coordinate a nice massive crash, so you might want to follow Ian Worrell.
All right. Well, Joe Zubovich is going to come across the line. Oh, we're doing the...
Actually, with that said, I got to go warm up for the race. I'll see you guys soon.
We will see you soon. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just going to pop off. I'll be back in a second. I'm going to make a phone call.
That sounds great. And let's unmute Ian there. See if he can hear us now.
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, good. Sorry, we had you you had your hands full there. Didn't want to distract you, but looks like we're forming up for what's becoming a Skippy Formula 2 tradition here. The formation lap as a group, some camaraderie. Congratulations on the P2. You and Andrew Cole put on a hell of a race for us. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to drive. I tell you, there was a couple of moments that were a little bit sphincter puckering, but I think generally speaking, it was not too bad. I wish I hadn't bumped him right there at the end. He said he missed a shift, which is why I knocked him. But I managed to miss hitting the pit wall, which was good.
That is good. That is very good. Oh, hold on one second.
Oh yeah, no, great fun. I mean, hell of a race. It was really enjoyable. I mean, yeah, I got a big grin on my face right now.
Well, it looked like, and I think there's going to be more folks who had a good experience there too. Obviously, not everybody. But there's some good racing throughout this field of. Let's see, we had 13. Oh, I totally forgot to put up the results. Wow.
Don't know about that.
Slacking here. Let's see.
All right, guys, let's go. Let's go.
We'll bring up the results here in a second. I don't want to. Oh. And everybody's going to go off. Everybody left you. And into the catch fence. Nice. Not as planned.
That was a pretty good planned one, hey?
Not as planned, but that was pretty fantastic. I'm gonna.
Well, my engine still starts.
Well,
I'm driving. I can still go.
As Ian tries to completely total for the insurance money there, congratulations to Andrew Cole on the win, and Ian and Dan Pagowski will round out your podium for this evening in the Skippy Formula 2 race. Peter Lee in 4th, Barry Stockdale in 5th, Jake Ashe 6th, Robert Longatano in 7th.
Yes, indeed.
Oliver Harley in 8th, Kent Kirkendall in 9th, Pim Luth in 10th, 11th is Joe Zubovich, and I believe the rest did well, maybe Keith Lee, Carter Stickney, Rich Butler. I thought he was in there for at least a little bit. Keith Lee was. I do apologize. But Antonio and myself, obviously not.
Well, I really hope that race was as fun to watch as it was fun to drive in.
It certainly was. It certainly was. And normally, this is where we'd bring folks in and talk, but we are running behind. We're running behind on schedule, so we will try to do something a little bit later. I'm going to go and switch over the session, and we will get ready for the Skippy Formula 1 race, which should be starting shortly. Keep your eye on the stream. I'm going to keep it up. It's just going to be an intermission, and I'll throw up a timer as soon as I figure out when we're going to come back live. So congratulations once again, Ian, and we will see you on the flip side, right?
We will indeed.
All right.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's
Race.
day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on
Race.
day.
Race.
Hey,
Get happy.
yeah.
Get Geico.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome back, I should say. Hopefully you joined us for the Skippy Formula 2 race. We are back for the Skippy Formula 1 race now, and joining me in the booth once again is Paul Beatty and Ian Worrell, who will be racing tonight. You guys have a nice little break?
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I think Ian needed a bit more of a break than me. Stunning race there, Ian. Well done, man. Well done. Well driven.
Yeah, it's got to be a confidence booster going into the Formula 1 race here shortly, for sure.
A little bit.
And
Except I'm driving like rubbish now.
well, that's not great. At least you got it out there for the Formula 2 race. Pulling out a P2 there on the evening, though, things could go terribly wrong, and I'd still call that a win.
No, I think I'm going to ride the laurels of that particular position finish, and be very happy with that. So it really doesn't matter how I do in this race. I mean, I'm going to try my best, but I'm not going to be as worried now. You know what I mean?
100%, yeah. Like I said, takes the pressure off quite a bit, and I am just all over the place here with the overlay this evening. None of that is right. None of that is what I wanted to put up there. There we go. Best time. Now I found it. So you can get a sense. 2 minutes remaining left here in qualifying. Yes, this is a professional outfit, ladies and gentlemen. There's your hot lap for the evening right now is Pete Morbron 223.553. We've got Edwin Villarino just behind him. You saw the gaps up there, gaps and intervals, whatever. So all these drivers are really tightly packed, and Edwin right now starting on the front row, if you will. So Edwin is a very fast driver, and is the track dirt tonight? Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Yeah, is the track dirt tonight? Are you talking about the winter challenge race there that we'll be having coming up in this
No,
weekend?
I think they might be meaning the sun was on the track in a particular way a little earlier.
Okay,
And it
all
made
right.
it look really odd.
I thought Mrs. Bell was giving us a nice little plug there for the winter challenge race that we'll be having this weekend. I guess I will just take the opportunity anyway and say, yeah, we have our fourth Winter Challenge race for charity this weekend, Saturday the 9th, and I'll try to get you more information, but we will be driving dirt sprint cars around Eldora Speedway, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of money on the line for charities of your choice, and it'll be broadcast by Apex Racing TV. That if we have new viewers joining us, go to cavoknetwork.com/SNS. Sorry, switching gears here just a little bit. But you see where this links back. cavoknetwork.com/SNS. That's CAVOK network.com/SNS. You can get some live timing, live track map, standings, stats for your Sunday Night Skippy drivers. And on that same webpage, you can find Winter Challenge information as well. So if you're curious about that, what that's all about, you'll see it along the top for the Winter Challenge for charity. So I don't have to talk about it anymore. And with that, let's tune in real quick to the drivers' meeting.
Said more than two. Good call.
And we're going to mute Ian there just real quick. And I'm not hearing anything.
So Jason just some housekeeping, but I haven't heard him since then. So.
All right, so
There we go.
driver's briefing real quick. I don't think there's anything that really stands out on this track other than the runoff after 130R. It's tricky asking people to get back on track as quickly as you can because there's that really slick green strip there and some bumpy terrain. So asking people to get back on the track as quickly as possible could probably cause more trouble than it's worth. So what I would suggest, unless the stewards disagree, is if you find yourself in that runoff, don't use it to gain or hold a position. Obviously, safety comes first, but by the time you get on the straight after that, if you find that you did gain a position, just try to give that back. Otherwise, that will come with a CAT and possibly a time penalty when the stewards review it. 45 minutes, 2 pit stops. If you spin, please lock your brakes. If you're off the track, please rejoin very, very carefully. Do not rejoin the track. If there is traffic that is coming up on you, please use your relatives to gauge that. When you do rejoin, make sure that you're rejoining parallel to the racing line. Don't just, come straight back on the track perpendicularly. That way, if you do make a miscalculation with oncoming traffic, that gives them a hope and a prayer of avoiding you. No call-outs. I don't think there's really anything else. Ian, Don, Jeffrey, Walter, anything you guys want to add?
I think just watch out for dive bombs. The chicane and even like turn one kind of lend themselves to that, so just be really sure that you have overlap before you make it past there.
And at the hairpin, people have a lot of different sort of lines going into it, so just be aware.
A little bit this week. The spirit of the league, some of our rules and rules enforcement is a little bit different than what you might find if the pubs were policed at all. And the dive bomb situation is a really good example. If you're in doubt at all as to whether you have overlap going into a corner, it really is best to just go ahead and back out. Another thing that came up this week is we did have one incident in review. This is really rough because the person who was penalized, technically did what we asked in the rules, which is to, in this particular case, is to leave space. But he left exactly one car's width of space, and that's really fun racing, and I love racing that hard, but unfortunately we're all doing this over the internet. We're in different countries, leave a little bit of room for error, not just in that situation, but really in any situation. Give yourself and the other driver and the internet a little bit of room to make a mistake. I think that would go a long way. That's really all I have.
Sorry, a question. I'm not sure if I understand. In 130, of course, we try to keep the car on track. But if you feel you can't keep the car on track, it's safely to go wide. If I need to do this, I need to give the position to pass behind if I far ahead.
You can't be gaining a competitive advantage because you made a huge mistake.
Yeah, so if you run off track and there's no one contesting you, get on track safely, and there's not really a need to concede the position, but if you do that repeatedly, it'll be penalized. And by contrast, if you're going side by side with someone and you have to leave the track surface, then you have to concede that position.
Of course. But if you feel in danger to lose the control, it's precisely to go wide.
Yep, but if you would have lost control, then you would have lost the position. So it's best just to leave the position to them then.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess one last thing, once we start gridding up, we do go into restricted voice communication. By the way, the grid is about 30 seconds left. So please restrict all communication to blue flag pass coordination only. If you see damage on the track, please don't call it out. Yep, that's it. Good luck, guys.
All right, there you go. That's the team communication for this evening, and drivers are on the grid. Great to see all the fans tuning in for their driver of their choice as the lights are about to go out here for our Suzuka race, Skippy Formula One, Sunday Night Skippy, and they're off. Meant to say congratulations to Edwin on his pole, able to eke out the pole position from Pete there on the last lap, and great to see that. Jason Weiss up there.
There weren't very many big gaps between qualifying times there as you move down the grid, so we could be in for a good old Skippy knife fight in a phone box here.
And I'm here for it. I'll tell you what, I had my coffee. I meant to put some bourbon next to it, but I may have to take a little break here because I got a feeling that it's going to be that kind of night here. Although we seem to be keeping it relatively clean for the time being. It's great to see.
Yeah, they're doing a real good job. A nice long train here, all keeping it tidy.
Well, we say that, and here we go. He's going to make the pass going through 130R and into the chicane. Not seeing too many issues. That is great to see.
Edwin timed that right, just slotted in behind Peter there, just to keep the momentum going. How long can the train last, though? That's the question.
Everybody being nice and polite so far. It looks like Ian took the pit stop. We've also got, who else is in there? Joshua Dancy.
Oh, that track map on your overlay there looks like a long slinky moving around the track still.
It is a snake for sure. That is a tough to almost kind of not work any useful information. You can't read what anybody's name is. Well, let's take a march through the field then. I was waiting to review some incidents, but clean so far. Pete Mobron leading the field right now. Edwin Virino in second. Chris Herrera's currently sitting in the last podium spot with Jason Bice and Connor Tolman right behind him. Looks like P5 through 8 relatively unchanged, kind of holding serve for the moment. Actually, not a ton of movers. You got to go all the way back to P29. Jonathan Dockery up 11 spots total right now. And just behind him, Antonio Bianchi up 10 spots. So those are our two biggest movers for the first lap and a half. Antonio rejoining us. Did a race or two, and currently the Prime Minister of League Zero, which is a Formula 3 league that's about to start. And there's actually quite a few Sunday Night Skippy drivers who will be participating on that on Thursday nights. I do not believe it'll be broadcast, but it's still pretty fun. So if you're interested in F3 racing and you're a driver, come check it out, League Zero.
Okay, so we got looks like a 27 car train still.
It's hard to pick out what to look at when there's nothing going on, although nothing going on, but folks behaving. Yeah, Virino and Mobron maybe, at least the leaders understanding this is a long race and just kind of taking it a little easy to maybe try to gap the field a little bit, although something may have happened to Edwin. I'm not sure. What happened there? Let's look back real quick. See if we can surmise. There goes Chris Herrera on the inside. And Jason Bice just follows him on in into turn one. Very nicely executed. Oh my. So I am getting word here that we may have had something happen. Let's look back in a little bit, actually. We got Jason Bice making contact with Pete Mobron there. And that's the broadcaster's curse right there. I'm gonna take the hit on that one. And let's see, actually let's take a look at what happened here. This is from Pete Mobron's view. And we may need to back it out just a little bit more to see. Actually, let's look at Jason's perspective. Just a little bit of contact and sends it around, and that's going to hurt Jason and Pete's chances here for the evening. That's going to leave Chris Herrera and Edwin Virino out front.
Unfortunate. It looks a bit sort of racing incident-y, that one, unfortunately.
Both Carl Jonke, Connor Tolman, and Jason Bice all in pit road. Just to say all three. Chris out now to a pretty good lead. Let's take a look back at lap 3 earlier. Potential incident here. Jeffrey Decker, Lauren Avery. Oh yeah, so that's why Carl's in. Yeah. Got a little bit of a stack up there. So going into the hairpin, a little bit of an accordion effect. So that's why they're all in pit road. Get that fast repair. Get back out there, hopefully. Quite a few drivers involved with that. So this is really going to shake up the standings
And Herrera's got quite a lead out of Valerino there. And there's a gap back to Mike Bowers as well.
See through the last lap, Chris and Edwin just kind of, you know, trading barbs a little bit. Chris setting some green sectors early on. But Edwin catching up. So Chris running some pretty good laps, but Edwin's just about there into that draft. And right behind them, you can see a three-way battle. Mike Bowers, Don Parks, and Doug Metzel up 3 spots. As Jack Moffitt ducks into pit road as well. The another car involved in that earlier incident going into the U-turn there. And a little further back, Pete Mulbron's got Darwin Romero right ahead of him, but Gherkin Demir, Sean Trediak, and Arscott Bell. Let's take a look. Actually, I do believe Bell has one of our cameras here.
There's a pack of 3 there, Bowers, Parks, and Metzel. And if they play their cards right, they might well get back into Valerino's draft here. But Bowers has had some really good pace here this week.
Oh, we got another car around. Who is that? Darwin Romero, I believe. But he will slide in. Looks like not too much worse for the rear. A little bit of rear wing damage, but he'll just slot right in. And another driver in this same pack, Gherkin Demir. Oh, it looks like we've got a little bit of size discrepancy there with his view, but
And Valerino's back in the hunt again now.
there it is. So Chris, who joined us in the broadcast booth for this Formula 2 race, was pointing out, as did you, the draft here, Edwin now firmly in that zone. So once they get on to the, I don't want to call it the backstretch here, but after Spoon, we'll figure out what Edwin's philosophy is going to be here. Is he trying to make the pass now and lead some laps to get those points, or kind of hang out and use the draft for some fuel savings? And further down the field here, JR Hoops getting the pass there done on Barry Stockdale. That's going to be for P31. JR down 9 spots total. I got to imagine that was due to some contact. That's a lot of spots to have lost biggest mover right now, Antonio Bianchi up 19, we were looking at earlier. And here we go. Edwin and Chris. Now nose to gearbox. Coming to take.
See what happens in turn 1 here. Will Edwin sit there or go for it?
You can hear him lift, kind of feather that throttle there. He's happy to stay there
Yep.
for now.
Softly, softly, catchy monkey, I think, with Edwin tonight.
Well, you can notice the timing tower going a little crazy there because pit strategy is starting to come into play now with some stops. Pete Broughton going to be one of those takers.
Yeah, Pete is very, very good at using the pit stops to his advantage. Even though he's had a bit of an unfortunate incident there, you can't really rule him out at all.
Yeah, I think we've learned that he is, at least at the moment, master of the pit strategy, at least using it to, like you said, using it to your advantage's sake. Also very just good at getting in and out quickly. And
That's the good thing about these 2 pit stop races. You can short fuel on your first one to get out a bit quicker than you would. You do have to make that up with your second pit stop, but it can buy you some space on track if you use it right.
So folks we haven't got a chance to talk about yet, Lauren Avery and Steve Dewar, Bill Groombridge, all 1, 2, 3 here battling for P12, or I'm sorry, P11. No, that's P12, I was right. We're looking ahead there at Bell for P11. He's up 11 spots, or I'm sorry, 14 spots. Wow. Looking at the wrong thing all the time here. Our Scott Bell up 14 spots total in the P11, but he's got a train of 3 here behind him, and a little further back, looks like Kyle Reed's going to look to the outside of Antonio Bianchi, and they're going to go side by side into 130R. Antonio going to think better of it. Slot in behind.
Valerie. Oh, top 4 all in the pits.
Oh, 903 looks like they did what I did and forgot to uncheck the tires there. I believe that's Lyndall. No, that's Andrew Cole. That's Andrew Cole, our race winner from the early race. We'll check it out here. The race off pit road.
Yeah, Skippy tyres are not the fastest wearing. They can last 6 hours and only lose 5%. So you might enjoy that new rubber feel for a while. You never know.
Good for endurance racing, but Edwin's gonna take the lead out of pit road there. Looking at the times, and 0.12 seconds is all it took. Was the difference to give Edwin the lead. So
I think Edwin headed into the pits first there, so I don't know what the pit times were. I think they were quite similar.
Well, there you go. Further back here, Jeffrey Decker and Sean Trediak. As Decker's going to take P12 away from Sean. Sean, though, up 6 spots total, having a great run so far. Here's Dan Pogowski, who we saw earlier tonight as well. Barry Stockdale to These guys found each other looking at P36. I want to check back up here with Don Parks. We were talking about earlier, Doug Metzel is going to be in the draft and will opt to take advantage of it. Makes pass clean there for P4. Just ahead of them, Mike Bowers. Currently sitting on the final podium spot. And you can see just up ahead, there's Edwin and Chris duking it out for P1.
Looks like they're not fighting too much though. They're keeping it smart because what's the lead? 4 seconds over Bowers. So you fight 4 corners and that's gone. So you have to be nice and gentlemanly at this point of the race.
Speaking of gentlemanly, there's Connor Tolman making the pass on Steve Dewar. This is a great battle here. Joshua Fitz-Johnson ahead of them, not somebody we've got to talk about much. Newcomer to the league, relative newcomer at least. There, welcome to Joshua.
Well, I just noticed there, well, it was only a couple of laps ago that Pete McBrotton was 10.5 seconds off the lead, and now he's closing in on 8 seconds. He's got some fire in his belly at the moment.
Yeah, he's back up to P6 as I believe that may be Darren Romero back marker there. Let's check in live with Pete on his stream. He's got quite the overlay going on there. You can see he's got some clean track ahead of him up to the 54 of Don Parks. Making some great time though, like you said. That's really impressive to see. I don't know, I don't remember exactly where he ended up. Let's take a look at pit lap times though. I got to imagine we'll be closing in here at some point on our second pit lap. So look at Pete. Yeah, I mean pretty quick, but Jack was a little quicker. Carl quicker yet, trying to do that little bit of a undercut, I would imagine. Connor Tolman had a long pit stop. I don't know if that was another tire issue or if that was a penalty of some kind, but that's not what you want to see. And Carl sets the purple sector. I'm sorry.
It's interesting when you pull into the pits as a part of a train. Then it's like a game of chicken or quick draw. Who's gonna clear the fuel counter first and get out, and have they got enough fuel in the car?
Yeah, you start second guessing yourself. Go just a little bit long because these cars don't exactly accelerate either. So somebody gets the jump on you. That's going to be tough to make up. Yeah, I'm not sure why Gherkin's camera's quite like that. As Jeremy Grandin pops in and out of existence there for him.
McBrotton's dragging Dronky and Moffat along with him. Carl likes to short fuel his car, so this might be a race where it pays off for him a bit.
I would imagine Carl and Pete would work together here, but I've been wrong before. I mean,
Yeah,
Carl, if he took a little bit less fuel, would behoove him to kind of sit back there, right? Or am I wrong about that?
oh, I think so. I think he's just quite happy to tuck in behind Pete, because Pete has got really good pace here as well. So you don't want to waste that advantage. He's about to catch into the draft. In fact, I think he's already in the draft of Metzeler up ahead of him in that pack of 2 with a gap to P3 Mike Bowers. And these lap times are incredible. McBroughton and Parks are in the 22s. That's really gunning it.
And Carl will dip in with Connor Tolman and Peter Lee. There you go. I'm getting word Nelson Edison has crashed off track. And we're riding along board here with Steve Dewar.
Yeah, I just noticed Steve Dewar did a 23. That, like, there's cars all the way down that are doing really good lap times here. It's very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a real quick look here and see everybody's best times. And
there's not a lot in that, is there?
very impressive.
Oh, what happened to Carl?
Belief he's just in for a pit stop. He is back out. That would be his second stop, but that seems like a long time to make it to the end.
And also, he's faced with quite a bit of traffic in front of him now. I'm wondering if something happened there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the activity log, but I'm sure we'll hear about it at some point. There you go. Check back in here. Chris Herrera leading the pack. Once again, Edwin Viorino holding on. And they still got about 4 seconds there on Mr. Bowers. Pretty far spaced after that. Although, here we go, Pete. Doug, Doug, yeah, he's up in front there. Doug, Pete, and Don Parks. I'll have some fun. Pete, though, going to scoot right around. Thank you, sir.
There we go, debutant there, Joshua Fidge Johnson, car 618, currently in P14, in the thick of it there. Good to have him in. Nice, cool guy. There's a Twitch channel as Big Ideas Andy, always doing a bit of Skippy and other cars. Quite new to iRacing.
Having a fantastic race, up 14 spots there. Making some very nice passes.
Come on, Australia. He's the leading Australian driver. Go on there.
There you go. Get a sense of all the countries represented here in Sunday Night Skippy. We do have quite a few cars off right now, though. Jason Bice, Andrew Cole, Barry Stockdale, Paul Bachler, Aaron Law, all showing out at the moment, I do believe. Yep. And I did not fix Edwin's flag. I believe he is from Panama, though. That is not correct.
Yeah, I think the Argentinians might have a problem with that flag being there.
Yeah. Seems to be just kind of a catch-all flag. I don't know why that would be the case. Just like
somewhere in South America.
There's Darwin, just to show you the 950 car. Not having a fantastic race, I'm sure. We'd love to have that back, but as we're talking here,
pit action happening again.
yeah, we had Edwin's flag fixed before, but on the reset, it reset all my overrides, so I got to go through and do all those again. Chris beating Edwin out, though, speaking of which, and then Pete right behind them. Look at that. What a drive by Pete Morbron, working his way back up. Jeffrey Decker's coming off pit road, including the aforementioned Joshua Fitz-Johnson just behind P27. All right, so right now Mike Bowers is your leader with Doug Metzel and Peter Nodwell currently on the provisional podium, although let's take a look here at the number of pit stops. And you will see Chris Herrera and Edwin Virino, obviously the leaders with their required 2 pit stops. Jeff Torbeck kind of sandwiched in there with 1 left to go. And just kind of a smattering after that, but everybody up to P12 right now has not pit a second time.
Yeah, surely Mike will be in this lap.
We'll check that out. I've got a close race going on here with Carter Stickney and Pim Luth. Although it does look like Pim is going to start pulling away there. All right, yeah, Mike Bowers, Doug Metzel, and Peter Nodwell all jump in, which is going to leave Eric and Demir. Your new race leader, if for the moment. And Sean Trediak up in P2. Sure he's happy with that, at least for a little bit here, until he gets his second pit stop. Steve Dewar sitting in P3. These guys had been having a fantastic battle all race, from what we could tell. And Kyler Reed up 34 spots, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow.
Kyler Reed having the race of his life. Although that will change a little bit here once we cycle through, but still, that's a heck of a number. I don't think I've seen plus 34. And good old Scott with his 49ers helmet. I do appreciate that. Go Niners. Currently sitting P5. Although lurking just behind them, Edwin taking the lead from Chris, and there you have it. Those are your leaders. Now only 3.5 seconds over Pete. They were maintaining about 4 seconds from the rest of the pack there prior to the pit stop. Pete has eaten into that a little bit. Let's see if I can't get some lap times for you. And at least based off of Chris's times, Pete is gaining ground. So we'll keep an eye on that. got to talk about much, Adam, right? He's got the 24 car of Peter Lee right ahead of him. This is going to be your battle for P26. Some of the closer racing that's going on right now. All of the cars that were leading the race have gone into pit road, as you can see. So as we cycle through, Edwin will reclaim the lead. And that's going to shuffle the board through, and that's basically going to be it. It looks like everybody who's had one pit stop is going into pit road this time, so we'll take that down. Pit strategy now out of the equation, and it's just going to be how fast can you drive a Skip Barber Formula 2000. Adam Wright makes the pass cleanly there. Check back in with Don Parks and Doug Metzel. And let's check out Mike Bauer's view of Pete Brown here as he really takes that curb.
Yeah, he's just letting Pete guide them back to the front two. Although it does look as if Valerino and Herrera have put their foot down a little bit. Maybe there was a bit of fuel saving going on earlier.
It's great. Just behind them, Don Parks and oh wait, that's Doug Metzel and Don Parks. I'm having a rough night here with my overlay. Don Parks, Doug Metzel, going. I don't know what's going on. Going to town. Looks like Don's gonna give it a shot, and Doug will slot in right behind. A lot of gentlemanly passes going on here. We'll see if things start getting twitchy. We are down now inside of 8 minutes to go, so just a couple more laps, really.
Yeah, we can expect to see cars holding their lines on 130R coming into that final chicane on the last lap at least. And that's very tricky to do because it's a corner that requires a lot of commitment at the best of times, and when you've been doing that lap after lap, you get the rhythm, and then all of a sudden, if you've got to take an inside or outside line, it can become very dicey.
And Carl back in pit road. Oop, I didn't mean to actually. And Steve is going to relinquish P16 there. Still up 3 spots total, though.
And this just shows you how good league racing can be, though. I mean, everyone here on track is having a race with someone. It's fantastic.
It really is, all throughout the field. And we mentioned Robert Longatano before, hosting practice sessions there on, I believe he's the Wednesday night session. But he's up 5 spots. Seems like he's having a pretty good run. And here's Jeremy Grandin in the 953. He's towing Connor Tolman, Gherkin Demir, Louis Bobino, Jeffrey Decker, and Lauren Avery. So that's a pretty fun. Oops. Pretty fun train.
Oh, that was close there by Avery. Very close. It's a very it's a very clenching corner, is Spoon, because you have to. It's so important to get it right for the long straight that follows, but it's a very tricky corner. It's off camber. It's not pleasant at all, and you've got to be so patient, waiting for that second apex to come along before you put your foot down.
Ooh. It is possible to go through there side by side. Look at that. Scott and Kyle.
Yeah. Nice bit of driving there by Scott and Kyle. Kept it nice together. No danger to each other. Very tricky to do that. Well, it looks like Fidge and Tretiak are having a little place swapping exhibition there for 15th and 16th.
Well, don't look now, but here's Edwin and Chris, and coming up on just a couple laps left here. Pete kind of maintaining. Actually, I want to look at Chris's view here to make this work. And the lap times. There we go. So Pete took a pretty dang good chunk out there, and you see 12 and 13, obviously the pit laps, but 14, 15, and 16. Nearly a second and a half.
Edwin's using every bit of slip angle the car can handle there. He's going for it now. Look at that, nice and wide there, getting as much width on the entry to 130R just to open up that corner as much as possible. And it looks like Bowers and Mabrotten have given up on the lead, and they're going for the last podium position between them.
Oh, looks like Pete's missing a nose cone there. Looking back from Mike's gearbox. So I don't know how much that will play into the long straights, but if Pete does get by, does he even have a chance, or does he basically got to wait? Or does the nose cone not matter that much?
A nose cone hurts when you're in front of a car for sure. He should be able to hang on. Maybe he'll be able to get a bit of draft. It's hard driving that. Hard.
Well, check this out. I just noticed I was looking at Pete's picture-in-picture there and saw a car. I was quite confused.
And Valerino's running away with it now. He's gone. Herrera's dropped back.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
I wonder if he's short on fuel.
Is he running on empty?
It doesn't look as if he's got any damage to his car
No, looks like a clean car. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, there's something wrong there. He is falling way back. Well, let's look here. Look at this, 2x2 down into 130R. Holy cow. They keep it clean. That's Gherkin, Lauren, Louis, and Jeffrey, I believe. No, it's Jeremy. Holy cow, 3 wide into the chicane. How? How did they do that? Oh, they don't, though. Gherkin's around. And the 452 of Lauren Avery is going to take just a little bit of a detour. Oh, I wish I would have had the in-car up for that with Gherkin, but that's rough. Lauren's car does not look great, and Gherkin's going to dip into pit road himself. So, some pretty good battling there, but just too many race cars, not enough track. I'll tell you what, you brought this up earlier, Sean Trediak and Kyle Reed. And Steve just kind of watching on. This has been going on for quite a few laps now. And we are past the 45-minute mark as I'm watching all these battles happen. Let's just take a quick look here where Edwin is. So he's going down into the hairpin. This is going to be it. Pete Mobran, after the early contact and spin, has about 2 seconds up to Edwin, and doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it work.
This is the final.
I think I called Joshua Fitz-Johnson Kyle Reed there. I did not mean to do that, but these two have been battling pretty well. And yeah, this is it. This is our white flag lap, and we've got great battles all throughout the field as Doug and Don make their way past Chris Herrera, who continues to hemorrhage spots. Next back is Peter Nodwell, though, with 13 seconds, so hopefully he can hang on there to P6. We'll see what happens. Edwin is making his way down a last final set of turns, and Mike Bowers is going to give Pete Fitz here. And it does look like Edwin, barring a self-imposed accident here, is going to make it. The battle here is going to be Pete and Mike Bowers. Mike's going to take it home. Very nice racing there, fellas. Pete Mobran will bring it home in third. Doug Metzel, Don Parks. We'll round out your top 5 a little further back. Yeah, Chris keeps dropping, though. There's Peter Nodwell. Louis Babino is going to be 7th. Jeffrey Decker behind him. And there's this battle here with Josh, Sean, and Steve. Looks like Joshua is going to get the better of Sean this time around. With that's your top 10. Steve Dewar. Kyle Reed's going to make a last-minute pass, and I got to imagine here this is Chris sputtering to the line as Scott Darkins and Carl Dronke pass him. Chris is going to watch Bill Groombridge go by, and still 16 seconds back there as he crosses the line to Antonio Bianchi. And he and Adam Wright here having a great little battle there at the end that we almost missed. And you can hear the crashing going on, so let's check it out. Chris, unfortunately, not going to be able to participate in that. You can see the red off tracks. Nice little Sunday night Skippy tradition here. Gherkin getting some fantastic air there.
There's nothing worse than you can hear if you're using something like Crew Chief after you've done your second and final pit stop. It will say, pit window opens. It's like, oh no, really?
No. Oh boy. All right, well, we've got just a few cars left here. Jeff Torbeck making his way through the chicane. After that's going to be Jonathan Dockery, who ended up 14 spots up. Pretty nice little run for Jonathan, who recovering from COVID symptoms. Well, COVID, not just the symptoms. So having a rough go of that. Good to see him come out and have a nice solid run, up 14 spots. Connor Tolman down 26 spots total. Or I'm sorry, 22 spots total. Probably not the run he was looking for. And then Jake Ashe also running out of fuel, it looks like. There's a lot of that going on. So pit strategy, that's a tough one. It's like one of those little toys you have as a kid, you know, perpetual motion machines there. I'm not sure. Wiggling it, hoping to keep that momentum up. Not looking good. for Mr. Ashe. And I think that's gonna bring us final as we watch Jake.
Come on, Jake. Good hunt there. Come on.
Thought he had it. Thought he had it. Oh well. And I think that's gonna be it. I do believe. Let's bring. Let's unmute poor Ian here. Ian, buddy, how do you have a good copy on us?
I do, sir. How you all doing?
Very, very good, man. That was a lot of fun to watch. You know, different week, same problem. There's just too much racing going on. I can't focus on it all. I wish we had multiple crews for this, but fortunately not the case. Let's get right to it. Let's bring in Jonathan Dockery, who we were actually just talking about, just trying to get over COVID-19 or coronavirus, and comes out and has a pretty strong run overall. I didn't see anything too bad. Had some good racing going on throughout the field, but Jonathan, tell us how you feel.
Jonathan, you there?
Oh,
well, while we're waiting for Jonathan, I crossed the line with 0.04 gallons of fuel left.
So you gambled, but it was the on the right side. It looked like not so many people were that lucky. I figured it out. That was on me.
Apparently, I passed a lot of people who run out of gas on that last lap. I think I went from like 0 at the end to like 29th or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't think Jonathan was one of those people. I think you were able to finish under power. Is that right? Nope.
Jonathan, you there?
There it is. Yeah,
there we go.
Now that I have permission to talk, and I can't actually talk this week. It's the COVID sucks. If you see it, run. Just saying. I thought I was gonna die. It was horrible.
Not fun.
So yeah, I caught it from a guy who apparently at work went and got tested, didn't tell anybody, and then when his test came back, he got sent home with COVID. So yeah.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man, but it sounds like you're on the upswing, and had a good race tonight.
Yeah, hoping to be back to work Friday. Race wasn't bad. Congrats to the F2 guys, because that was a great race. I think Ian ended up winning that, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that was Ian got second, but he did really well.
Yep. Barry got 5th. I was pretty proud. I've worked with Barry all week and was pretty proud of that. Yeah, not a bad race. I apologize to Aaron Law. Think I got in the back of him in lap 2 or 3. I know it was a lot of bumping and banging going on this track. It's a rough one. I qualified, messed up, started 40th. I think one time I was 15th or 16th. Botched my second pit stop. I should have ran an extra lap before I pitted the first time, so I was short. And then whenever I pitted the second time, I sped and had to hold for 41 seconds. So, but it was fun. I learned a lot this week.
Gaining 14 spots when you're under the weather's no mean feat there, Jonathan. That was a good drive, man.
I have to say thank you to Paul, because I struggled really hard the first of the week. And Paul was like, well, I looked at it and tried this, and this, and it worked out really well. And then we were in a pub together and had a guy on my inside and trying to watch him, and I punted Paul, and I felt so bad, and I apologized to him 3 or 4 times.
No worries. No good deed goes unpunished. That's okay.
But it's been a fun week, and I'm looking forward to next week. So thanks for the broadcast, and we will definitely see you all afterward.
Outstanding, man. Well, yeah, glad you're feeling better and continue to do so, and we will see you next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm probably about 80% back to being healthy-ish. So,
awesome.
Thanks for the interviews, and y'all have a great one.
You too. All right, that was Jonathan Dockery, yeah.
Good to hear him sounding so chipper there. He's had a bit of a rough old trot. He's sounding in fine fettle, sounds happy. Good man.
Exactly. I do not envy him or anyone who had it for sure. Well, let's bring in your boy, Joshua Fidge Johnson, and who had a fantastic run himself, and we got to see some really great racing throughout the whole race. Really, ended up what was it, 14 spots up? But either way, it was a lot of fun to watch you and Sean and Steve and a couple of the other guys mix it up. Oh, and I've muted him once again. Why is it muting everybody? All right, now
Hey, here I
we
am.
got you now.
Hello.
All right. So how was the race?
Really good. One of the best races I've ever had in the Skip Barber. Wow. Sean and I were back and forth for the whole race. It was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. We got to see it a lot. Hopefully, you get to look back on it. But is Suzuka, it kind of seemed to split the field a little bit on whether or not people liked it going into the race. At least that was the chatter I saw on Discord. Where do you stand on the track itself?
Early in the week when I was getting punted every race, wasn't loving it. But I had a few good races leading up to this, and that it really brought me back. So, and after this race, I think I enjoy it. But I'm ready to say goodbye.
Yeah, I think that seems to be a pretty common emotion for it. But where are we next week? Even I should probably know the answer to that.
Watkins Glen.
Oh,
Paul's
yeah.
excited. Can you hear it?
Watkins Glen boot. The boot.
Yeah, we all know it's one of Paul's favorites for sure.
Hey, Josh,
thank you guys. I got to head out. My dog has to do a poo outside. So.
Oh, all right.
Thank you for that information.
Great result. Great
Thank
result.
you guys.
Top
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Nice drive, man.
We'll see you, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm very stoked. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well,
it's just fortunate the race didn't go on for 50 minutes. Otherwise, Andy's dog would be in trouble there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad it's outside and not inside, though, because that is the absolute worst. Do not want to clean that up. But speaking of cleaning up, Pete, in an early race incident, was able to manage pit stops and just be stupid fast and end up on the podium after all was said and done. How's it from your did I unmute him? Yeah, how is it from your perspective, Pete?
Yeah, I expected it to. I didn't expect to, even get back to top 10 or anything after that early incident. And with how the racecraft has been in the officials this week, if I'm honest, even before the race, I was like, I don't know if I even want to run this one. I'll take it as a bye week because I'm just tired of getting killed in a 130R and the chicane. So when that happened, it was just like, I don't even want to be here, right? But I was like, screw it. We're in the race. We're in the rig. We'll go for it. Head down, angry mode, right? Just see what we can do. And very, very pleased with P3 for a recovery drive. That was much more than I expected. And also, I just got to the incident, and it looks like it was really just super unfortunate netcode. We shouldn't have had any problems there. So it did the iRacing exploding tire thing when we're actually side to side, and there was a good half a foot between us. So it was just let's call it technical difficulties. So unfortunate, but good. Salvaged the night. I think we did all right.
Yeah, Pete. Like when after your incident, I was looking at the intervals to the leaders there, and at one point you were like over 10 seconds down, and then you were just chipping away, head down, and you were just gunning it, man. That was quite a stunning bit driving by you there to catch them back up.
Yeah, nobody knew I had an angry mode, did you?
I think the strategy going forward is going to be to keep Pete happy, because angry mode is not good for the competition.
The one thing I was surprised about is I did sputter across the line, and I took all the fuel I could, both stops. So that was exciting. There was no fuel strategy or anything there. I couldn't physically do it on 2 stops. So I got lucky that I was still able to hold P3. I'm going to be interested to watch the race and see if that was an issue for others, because that was mighty close. Best I can figure, I had damage after that initial incident that hit my fuel consumption pretty hard. But yeah, that was tough.
I think that might have what happened to Chris Herrera there, because Edwin was tucked in behind him for all of the race, saving fuel, and we saw Chris run out before the end there because he was, having to punch the clean air himself.
Yeah, we definitely saw him, pull way back right around Spoon, and I'm like, there it is. There's the namesake.
Yeah, it's been a while since Team Running on Empty has run on empty, so it was good to see. Probably not for him, but it was it was good that he's earning his stripes for the team once again. But let's see, I had one other question for you, and it's been a long day for me, and I forgot what it was. But yeah, it was really fun to watch you. We said early on if there's anybody who can uh, make something out of this, it is Pete with your what seems to be superior pit strategy and ability. So I know that I had a couple issues on that with the practice race, just getting into pit road and whatnot. So you see how important it is and how it can be the difference between not just a place here or there, but how your whole entire race goes. So I'd love to see some more coaching and kind of topics on that discussed in the Discord with just pit strategy and how to practice pitting. So yeah, looking forward to that. But I think that was it. You guys have any other questions for Pete? All right, Pete, you got anything else for us? Did I lose everybody? Uh-oh. Well, let's try this. I'm just talking to myself over here. All right, well, while we figure out, speaking of technical difficulties, what the heck is going on? We have one more, if we can get it up. We've got Mike Bowers in the booth, who I'm really looking forward to talking to. He had a really strong race, finishing P2 overall. Oh, there we go. Hey, I don't know what happened there.
Chris, you were saying that you were just trying to leave us all in suspense, and we were going to have everybody tune in next week.
Oh no, we lost him again.
I thought, I thought you were leaving me in suspense there for a little bit.
Nope, we're good. Okay.
All right, so I was saying, if you guys had any other questions for Pete?
No, we're good.
So, well, just one question. So now that you've fallen in love with Suzuka, do you think you'll fall in love with Watkins Glen next week?
That'll be a tall order. I'll say in any layout of Watkins that isn't the last one we ran, I can assure you I will have immeasurably larger affinity for compared to last season. I can absolutely guarantee it.
Excellent.
All right, Pete. Well, you got anything else?
Just the usual. Shout out to the Snail Racing folks. Got a chance to catch up again with one of the Race to Learn sessions this weekend. And had one of our coaches, Marcus, walk us through under and oversteer with setups in the city to demonstrate those behaviors, and did a couple of drills. And the new format's really interesting. I learned a lot. If that's on anyone's radar, work on some car control and racecraft skills with a group of like-minded people, come check us out.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
Very good. Well, congratulations once again on the fantastic race. It's going to feel real good. And we will see you next week at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Take care, mate.
Super.
And last but not least, as I get him unmuted, I'm going to do that first this time. Mike Bowers finishing up 4 spots in P2. Really strong run. So fuel seemed to be a big factor for a lot of drivers, some larger factor than others. But how did that work for you? Were you sputtering across the line as well, or were you able to get enough fuel on that second stop? Oh, did he move himself back, or did I not ever move him in? You there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, buddy. Sorry. We're having all sorts of technical difficulties tonight. I was just saying that fuel played a big factor in a lot of people's races tonight, and I just kind of wanted to see if you had any sort of issues with that as well, or you had a really strong run, up 4 spots into P2, and it was was a lot of fun to watch you.
Well, first off, I got to apologize to Don. I kind of side-checked him a little. I didn't mean to. I thought I'd given him enough room on the outside, and I slid up a little bit, and he was right there. So that was unfortunate. I was driving pretty hard at that point because after Judah pitted, there was a little bit of, or Connor, after he pitted for his black flag, I had a little space there to make up, and we didn't. But anyway, yeah, I was concerned about fuel. I did the math a couple times, and I thought, man, this could be a little bit close on fuel. So I took the full on the first and second, and a little bit extra on the third, just a tiny bit, and then I milked a little bit off of Pete while we were running there to get that up. I exited the pit and I had 0.08 gallons of fuel extra, so I milked a little bit off of Pete. And after I got a lap or so, that's when I started pushing. I didn't want to mess with Pete too much because he had pretty good pace, and I knew he was trying to run down those guys, and I didn't want us to be dicing around and we'd have no chance to run down Edwin and Chris. So I kind of was patient and laying back there to make sure I knew where I wouldn't impede our progress. And then when I realized we weren't going to catch them without doing some swapping, we started swapping a little bit, and it seemed to work out. But it looks like Chris ran out of fuel. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Edwin was saving a little.
There comes that point in the race, Mike, where you're using someone and you're all friendly, but then you're looking at the relative and you see, no, we're not going to catch up 2 seconds. Let's go for it. So that was fun to watch, man. That was a good drive.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'd feel a lot better if I hadn't made contact with Don, but I was trying to race hard because I really didn't want to lose that gap in front. And I knew if Don and Doug and I started racing each other, that they'd be long gone. There would be no chance. And I practiced pit stops, so I was fairly confident I could get out of the pits pretty well. And that seemed to be the case. I didn't really make up any on anybody, but I didn't lose either. So anyway, it was fun.
Nice.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, it was a really well-run race. Do you have anything else before we let you go?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, I really feel bad about side checking Don. He's a really good dude and didn't mean to do that. But everybody raced, I thought, pretty well. The contact early kind of got a couple, spread that gap out a little bit and made it a little interesting. But I don't know. It raced better than I thought Suzuka would race. I didn't really have a lot of fun this week at decent pace, but I don't know. It's good. I'm happy with second. I don't know if I finished second before, but I'm happy with that. And on to next week. Where are we next week?
Watkins Glen.
Oh, goody. Draft Fest. All right. I better take a Prozac before that one.
well, Mike, I wimped out of doing this race today because of its nature, and watching you guys race, I was my feet were twitching a bit. It was pretty clean on the whole.
Yeah, and that's one thing about this league. I don't think anybody really intentionally tries to mess anybody up or anything like that. And like I said earlier, I'm going to be a little more aggressive, but my goal is to not hit anybody, and I didn't quite pull that off tonight. But
well, either way, it was a well run, and we will see you next week at Watkins Glen, and I'm looking forward to that one, calling it at least, and seeing some tightly packed Skip Barber from the 2000s on that. Very fast, very ovalish track. So we will see you then, and yeah, stay safe.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate the effort.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Okay, bye.
And that was Mike Bowers, P2. That was the last gentleman we had in the booth waiting for a interview. So, final thoughts, fellas. I hate to cut it too short because I do enjoy talking with you guys afterwards, but I need to get rolling just a little bit here. But I thought it was a great race overall. I mean, I said it before, and shoot, at this point, if I had a dime for every time I said it, but it was tough focusing on one particular thing because there was just so many good close racing going on. And yeah, there was some incidents for sure, and we'll have the stewards take a look at that, but all in all it looked very just kind of incidental type stuff. I didn't see really any dive bombs, at least that we saw. And so, stuff like that looked like there was at least a couple netcode things, maybe with between Bison Mobrotin, and then I saw Decker. Looks like he got taken out. With I forgot who that was, but yeah, going into the chicane there. So interesting to see how we maybe take that momentum into Watkins Glen, because that's just another track where a lot can happen in a little amount of time.
Yeah, I think all the drivers can give themselves a big pat on the back. I didn't see anything shady at all, and like I was saying before the F2 race, it's not so much the drivers, it's the nature of this track that bunches people up, and for everyone to get through and have a nice decent race, I think that's fantastic. It's great for the league. So I think there is hope for next week. I'm looking forward to it.
And Ian, are you about done after 2 races? That's a lot of driving in one night.
Well, yeah, it's a stretch. It really is. I found myself making stupid mistakes, especially getting towards the end of that. During the middle stint, especially of the second race. Just trying to keep your concentration going for that long, with 2 races, is quite difficult. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Thanks to the fueling gods, I ended up 20 something. What did I end up? 24th or something crazy like that.
You were up 12 spots, or 12 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was up 12 spots. That's after having a black flag drive through, and but I only refueled twice. I don't know. I heard some other people say that they had to refuel 3 times, which I found a little surprising. But hey, there you go. Them's the brakes, right? But the fuel gods were smiling in my direction, I guess. Hard. It's hard to do 2 back-to-back races. So, but I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to another good fight in the SF2, and then trying to see if I can translate some of my. Well, I did this time, didn't I? I mean, my second place in the SF2 to 24th in the SF1. I'm not complaining about that at all.
Yeah, no, that's a solid night. That I would go home happy with that. The question is, how do you capitalize on that and keep that momentum moving forward? I mean, it'd be really nice to kind of bottle what you did. Was there a lot of practice involved, more so than normal, or?
Yeah, I mean, this week was easier to get a bit of extra practice in because we had all these days off. I had a long 4-day weekend, and I think that made a bit of a difference. I did do 1 pub race on here. Qualified P1, immediately got hit in turn 1, had to tow. Oh no, I drove back, got it fixed, came out in last place, worked my way back up to 5th. 3 people crashed in front of me, and then the 3rd person that crashed then ran into me. That was it. But that pub racing for you. But no, I mean, the league is going from strength to strength. I think that we just need to just keep ourselves going forward, keep our heads on, do what we're doing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this whole thing shakes out over the next year, because it's only our 2nd year.
Yeah, just getting going. Well, that's gonna be a wrap for me as well. Keep that energy up so we can do this again next week. But hey, thanks you guys for joining me in the booth. Paul, you especially, helping me carry the load. It's great to have a regular driver's perspective in here, because I know a little bit and I do the practice races, but it's just not the same. And you're pretty dang fast yourself, so certainly a lot faster than I am, so can speak to a lot of the stuff a lot better. Thank you very much. And
I'm really looking forward to watching the broadcast tomorrow. That's for sure.
Thanks for having me. That was a lot of fun, Chris. Good broadcast, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was a little bit of technical glitches here and there, but we battled through it. That was my battle for tonight. There is partly reason for that, so keep your eyes on the Discord. I made made you guys a little New Year's present, and hope to get that uploaded. I didn't want to play it right away on the broadcast because there may be some copyright stuff. I need to figure out what the deal is with that. So anyway, everybody have a good rest of your night, and we will see you next week. Don't forget, drivers, check out cavoknetwork.com for the Winter Challenge information. And I didn't have enough time to kind of advertise that a little bit more. Winter Challenge for Charity that will be this Saturday coming up. We're doing dirt sprint cars at Eldora for a good cause. You can go there, cavoknetwork.com, find your way over to the Winter Challenge for Charity section and learn about what the whole series is. It's a limited run series. Learn about the specific races and register if you so would like to. Other than that, I think that's it. Looking forward to Watkins Glen next week. We will see you guys later. Take care of yourselves.